A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for making time to join us on this edition of Spectrum Extra, reviewing the major events of the week. Today we'll be looking at the debate about political party financing in our country. We know there's been an ongoing debate on how political parties in our country are funded, and this week we saw that story coming out that political parties are going to receive 7.5 billion shillings. That's the political parties that have representation in parliament as part of preparing for the next election. But there's a debate around whether NUP will receive this money because according to the amended Political Parties and Organizations Act, if you're not accepting to be a member of the IPOD, you are likely not to receive that particular funding. Now, this party is already in a fundraising drive. They're targeting to raise 9 billion shillings. Today, the committee in charge of this exercise reported that they have so far raised about 1 billion shillings since commencing this activity on Monday. But they also insist they are members of the National Consultative Forum, where IPOD is a department, and they are now wondering why the government wants to lock them out of receiving this money. Well, the other political parties are preparing to receive the money. There are complaints about where funding actually for political parties comes from. Some people think NRM uses taxpayers' money. And, of course, President Yoweri Museveni has been on record to state that there are certain groups that keep on financing opposition parties here in our country, money that comes in from outside. We'll be discussing that matter in detail to understand what exactly could be going on. Now, we also know this week President Yoweri Museveni spent it in Wakiso conducting the PDM tours, and so questions are, is it a campaign or he's seriously fighting poverty? Well, in the field, President Yoweri Museveni met those that benefited and those that said they were excluded because of the manner in which the money was actually being given out. There are some women who actually confessed that they were not considered, and the President Yoweri Museveni has vowed to have those issues addressed. But on the political side, the President has been telling people, vote for only NRM candidates. And some people are saying he had decided to kickstart the campaign just the way he does every election year, because during such a period, there's always a poverty eradication campaign taking place, and some people think it's always disguised as a poverty eradication exercise, but in actual sense is already campaigning. We'll be discussing these issues in detail, and we do encourage you to share with us via the WhatsApp line 0703 090 090. It could be a question or comment, and the panel will be responding to you. I have a panel of 4. The 3 are already here. Imam Idi Kasozi, lecturer, Islamic University in Uganda, member of the Justice Forum Party, farmer. Good evening, Imam. It's a pleasure having you on Spectrum Extra.
Good evening to you. Good evening, my colleagues. Good evening, everybody that has tuned in. We pray the Almighty enables us to do some little contribution to our nation building.
Thank you so much, Imam. Our second panelist, Dr. Robert Ojambo, senior lecturer and head of Department of History and Archaeology and Heritage, Chambogo University, is also a political analyst. Good evening, Doctor. It's a pleasure having you on Spectrum Extra.
Good evening, listeners, and thank you for inviting me here so that I can share my opinions with the public. And I'm delighted to be with the Imam. If you didn't know, I'm his long-time fan who listens to him so much. And I really admire his social approach struggle, struggling always for the common man and keeping that longevity. I last started following him 27 years ago.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Right, our third panelist making her maiden appearance on this panel, Ms. Sheila Dravile Amanio. She's an economist, member of the National Unity Platform Party, aspiring to become Mukono District Woman MP. Good evening. It's a pleasure having you on Spectrum Extra.
Good evening. I am excited being a first-timer. I'm happy to meet the panelists. Good evening, listeners. And looking forward to delving into these very important topics for today.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. We expect our fourth panelist, Major Retired Okwira Boni, Director Youth and Institutions at the National Resistance Movement Party, the NRM. Well, gentlemen and lady, let's begin this discussion, and I want to begin with you, Dr. Ojambo, on the issue of political party financing. It has some historical perspective, but also constitutional matters, and would like to hear from you. There's an ongoing debate, and I think you followed it closely as a person who keeps tabs with the current affairs in our country. Generally speaking, what would be your initial reaction to how this debate has unfolded this particular week?
Yeah, this debate is part of the sort of the body politic that favors only one strong competitor. Maybe before I delve into this so much, I want just to share with the listeners that Uganda is not a bad country. Today, when I was just coming here, we are now the #1 producers of coffee in Africa. We have surpassed Ethiopia by far, and Ivory Coast. And there are so many things that happen in this country that are very good. If you go outside Uganda, the first thing you are greeted with, oh, you are from East Africa, where Kiptegei comes from, and many very nice things. The only thing that has disturbed us for a very long time is the politics, or the body politic of this country. And one of the issues is who should be running this country. And the idea was that we get leaders through political parties. When the political parties were finally released in 2005, after removing Article 269 from our constitution, through that referendum that the government was supporting, and there was some other guy who was supposed to be against it. So in my view, I thought that was government struggling on its own. In fact, the opposition boycotted, and yet they are the ones who wanted the political parties. So starting then, political parties did not have any special financing. Political parties are supposed to mobilize their own funds and run their activities, of course, with accountability to the Electoral Commission and all the other bodies that are in this country. But later, the government thought, and Yoweri Museveni was the propagator of the thing, that it is not okay, because we have been advised that if we don't give a special fund to political parties, maybe bad elements can penetrate the political parties and start funding bad ideas here. And that was the time when we had bombing, which was accused on Al-Qaeda. So security meetings advised the government that you needed some special funding mechanism to make sure that these parties survive. Remember, it comes when there was a Norwegian, a Netherlands body that was already trying to encourage dialogue, and that's how IPOD comes in. In other words, IPOD is even an NGO. So it was proposed that a special fund be put in place to help these political parties. And of course, regulations were put in place. They said two major ones, which we want to base on to discuss. That number one, during the course of the 5 years when an election has just ended, you only fund that political party that has a members of parliament in the house. And each party or each member was supposed to be given about 56 million shillings per member. So the more members you have, the better. But it was also agreed, number two, that during the 4th year, like now we are now, every party that is registered should get that money. Because at this time, we don't have clear members, and members are crossing from one party to another. For example, now, since the declaration that was made by members of parliament who have moved from out of NUP to other parties, those who have moved from FDC, they are no longer members of parliament for those parties. So the question was then, who gets that money at that time? And those parties which are being formed. Unfortunately, the only part that was implemented properly was the first one, where they were paying money, or they have been paying money according to the members of parliament that you have in the house. And the NRM is the biggest shareholder in this, because they have more than 300 members of parliament, followed by NUP, followed by FDC, followed by DP, and these other small parties have 1, 2, and so on.
There's also there's also UPC.
So the other parties have not been receiving anything. Now, in the middle of this year, the beginning, a debate ensued. And what surprised some of us, it was even a private member's bill, that they needed to amend the constitution. And every time they want to amend the constitution, you look at what is the mischief. And the mischief that was explained to the parliament is that there are some parties which want to partake this money, but they don't want to participate in iPod. And some of us were asking questions. How is iPod or these other things related to party? And some people answered that, they are trying to encourage dialogue. And we wondered, dialogue has very many other avenues that can be done. First of all, there is dialogue in parliament. They can form an inter-party something which discusses, and those who want can join. But people of this country have been pushing for a public dialogue. Many people have pushed for public dialogue, which the government has refused. Of course, unfortunately, to cut the long story short, the bill was approved. In fact, that bill was handled with a lot of speed, because remember, a private member's bill must first of all pass the financial threshold and be given a certificate of
financial implication.
But this one was very, very fast. They wondered whether they even had it, because I remember in the debate, the ministers were contradicting themselves whether they have it, and finally they said they had it, and the thing was passed expressly. Now, the mischief now comes to the public, started thinking that I think there are political parties that are trying to be being curtailed, because NOP has been getting around 1.6, I don't have the exact figures, billion per year. Of course, the other one gets over 6 billion, the NRM. And they thought maybe it is energizing. So some feelers out there are that it was trying to curtail NOP. I think during the course of the discussion we shall find what would be the mischief. But for me, if I were to be sincere, I think political parties in Uganda, they are not yet what we would expect from a political party, including NRM, which calls itself a political party. In my view, I think that NRM has turned itself into the political wing of the state, and the two move together. For example, has anybody questioned? I see NRM officials, RDCs, and what have you. RDC is supposed to be a public servant who is non-partisan, according to the act that he puts in place that position. But RDC looks like works for NRM. Look at the NRM secretariat. They drive vehicles with the Ugandan number plates, and you don't know how do they get this. You are talking about financing political parties. Where do you put a boundary between the money that comes from NRM as a party to finance its activities and the money that is used from the treasury? For example, the chairman of the political party. I was reading about the United States of America. Like us, during election, the president remains the head of state. And when he's doing party work, I was shocked that the party pays for most of the state things that he uses, including Air Force One. They pay. And the argument is, At that time, since he's the president of the United States, they need his security, but he's doing party work. Here, what is the boundary? Party members go and sit in the state house and you don't know what they're doing. So there is one party that survives on state funds and the others are not allowed to join in. Now, recently, I saw a fundraising drive. But this fundraising drive, I think, is going to, very soon they are going to stop it, and you will see it very soon. Number one...
Who is going to stop it?
The powers that be. Because there are regulations, if you have read that law clearly, that a party is not supposed to receive more than 400 billion shillings. And if they do, they must declare to the IGG and show how they are going to use it.
More than 400 million?
400 million shillings. Because every money that is collected publicly is state funds, if you didn't know. Any money that is collected publicly is supposed to be state fund. Now, these political parties, other than struggling for these iPod-related things, they should be struggling to remove such bad laws that curtail, because political parties all over the world, in the United States, they don't fund the Republican Party. They don't fund the Democratic Party in England and the ANC in South Africa. They mobilize their own money, and they're supposed to mobilize their money from anywhere. For example, that's why you see in the United States, there is a strong bond between Israel, the nation, and the United States parties which are there, because the Israelites are very clever.
The Jews.
During this fundraising, they put in a lot of money. When I was young, I was told the story that, you see, Jews are very bright people. You find them everywhere in these important places in America.
Lobbyists.
And many people think here that it comes by accident. They have huge funds to support Jew and Jew-believing people, to study, to do research, to do politics, to do everything. So political parties are supposed to be interest groups. Me as Ojambo, if I see a political party that is pushing for the rights of employees or public workers, I go and put my money there so that a bill or something can be discussed in Parliament to increase my salary. So that is what political parties do. But in Uganda, political parties are general purpose vehicles. People go in political parties because they want to reach maybe a position of NRM, of a councillor or MP. So they don't have the real character of a political party. A political party with a good ideology, why wouldn't it have money? Because if it is a farmer's party, every farmer, like for example, every coffee farmer would be interested in that party to struggle for the coffee prices. But look at these ones of ours. If you ask them, what are you going to do? We are going to help. How? You don't see, including the one in government. A political party which is pushing, for example, for children's rights. All the parents would be interested in that political party. But our parties have not yet reached that level.
Okay.
They are a combination of guys who are looking for, I normally call it a milk card from government.
All right, Spectrum, Xtra on Radio 1 FM 90. We're going to go for a break. Good enough, Dr. Ojambo has given us a very big picture from where we can begin the discussion. The fact of the matter is political parties need funding, like you've said, but where should the money come from? Stay tuned, Radio 1 FM 90. Keep your comments coming via the WhatsApp line 0703-090-090. When we return, Imam Idi Kasozi is here. Also in studio, we have Ms. Davile Amanio, who will also contribute to this discussion. Stay tuned, Radio 1 FM 90. We continue after this break. We're glad that you're still with us on Spectrum Extra, reviewing the major events of the week. I have a panel of 3 people here. The 4th guest is yet to arrive. Dr. Robert Ojambo, Senior Lecturer and Head of the Department of History, Archaeology and Heritage, Chambogo University, is also a political analyst. Imam Idi Kasozi, Lecturer, Islamic University in Uganda, and a member of the Justice Forum Party. He's also a farmer. And Ms. Sheila Dravile Amanio, she's the economist and member of the National Unity Platform Party, aspiring for the Mukono District Woman MP. Now, let me bring you in, Ms. Amanio, on this particular debate. And we're just wondering, how is your political party, NUP, handling this kind of situation? You need money for the campaigns. At the same time, you were getting money from the state. Now there's this kind of situation where they want you to block you from actually accessing this funding.
Yeah, of course, like Doctor had given us the preamble, there's a selective application of the law. Definitely, everything that is being done now is to deliberately close out National Unity Platform. They are fighting this one party that is giving them a headache. So whatever it is that has been keeping us afloat, especially having access to people, reaching out to the people, having to achieve what we have achieved right now, even having a headquarters, because they were asking, what are you using the money for? I heard Mao saying that the political parties who are getting money from iPod are not accounting for it well, but NUP is saying we have done A, B, C, D, and they gave a breakdown, including purchasing the party headquarters. So all that doesn't make them look good. So definitely they have to find something that is going to dim the light of National Unity Platform. But we are saying we are young minds, we are young leaders, we are young people, the young generation. Our party is a people party. So therefore we're always looking out for new avenues of how to exist in this state of affairs that does not favor members of opposition, especially our party. So definitely when they started bringing out those clauses to close us out, they wanted to coerce us into dialogue. You cannot force dialogue. There are so many issues that we've put across the government, like demanding for freedom for political prisoners, demanding for us to have access to traverse the country and take our message around. Even just mentioning the word, our agenda, especially our message this particular electoral period is the protest vote. It's being misunderstood. A small word like Kigali, it's being misunderstood. So they are working round the clock to curtail us and tie our hands down not to do anything, because they're saying that we're penetrating. So what happened is they're trying to create a picture of democracy in the country, which is not. There's no democracy in this country. The ground is not leveled. It is clearly a game of one party. And that, the person who's creating the laws is the boss, is the brain behind it, is the judge, is the jury. So how then do you expect to engage with such people? So our issue is we cannot continue engaging with a government that has failed to even respond to some of the issues that we have put across. Then what are we there for? What we know is that they want to paint a picture that there is democracy in Uganda, and yes, there's a dialogue. There's a space where political parties come and dialogue. That doesn't happen. It's not there. It doesn't exist.
What's wrong with dialogue? Why wouldn't you dialogue?
You see, dialogue should be free and fair. I don't know how to mention it, but the other person shouldn't bully the people who have other concerns. So if you come and you give us the rules of engagement, you are literally giving us the rules of engagement, and therefore we're supposed to follow that. That is not dialogue, because you're running the shots. You're the one who's giving us the manual to go with, and yet we're saying, we're complaining. How is it that you want to traverse around the country, but you don't want us to traverse around the country? Why is it that you want to bring in a connotation of saying, if we do not sit on the table with you, then we're not entitled to the money, and yet the membership is constitutional? The fact that we are a political party in this political party dispensation, we are by default members of the National Consultative Party. Then you rush to create other laws to make sure you make it very difficult for us to engage. So it's not conducive. It's not conducive at all for us to engage with a dictator who doesn't want to actually address the actual issues. Because for us, we want to talk about issues. We're not about taking pictures and being seen with the president. I think you saw that picture when he was with the council of the committee. I don't know, the Secretary General.
Secretary General of IPOD political parties.
I mean, he looked like he was looking at his cows. That's what the cartoonists. I'm replicating what the cartoonists interpreted it as. So that is how it's being seen. Someone is a boss and is talking over you, therefore you have to just listen. No, that is not dialogue.
So as a political party, how are you maneuvering? How would you be able to finance your activities just in case this money does not come? What are you doing?
Of course, we've already demonstrated that we are penetrating the grassroots, and that is what is making them afraid about our plans. So we have shown that there's an alternative. We are a people-based party. Therefore, we called the membership to come and fund the party, because everyone is preparing for elections. We're in an election pre-election period. Everybody has a budget. Even they themselves have budgets. They have budget, only that their budgets they have no caps. The last election cycle they used around 900 billion. And all that.
Which source can you quote for that?
It was declared by the Electoral Commission.
The Electoral Commission, and there's an NGO that carried out a research.
ACFIM?
I think it was ACFIM, yes.
Okay.
ACFIM. So that they used money to a tune of that amount. And they are the source of election commercialization in Uganda. They are the source of it. And what we're doing as NUP is to try and fight the commercialization of politics.
But you're also looking for 9 billion. You're looking for 9 billion. It's not
yes,
little
because,
money.
Elections, there are a lot of activities that have to be facilitated. Cars have to use fuel. We have to put posters. These days, there are billboards. Then we, as a party of young people, young leaders, there are people who cannot afford to even pay certain fees, like the fees that is mandatory by Electoral Commission. So our party is doing a fundraiser to engage in those activities, to cover those activities, to ensure that we also cover the whole entire country. The president and the entire body goes across the country, reaches out, campaigns, takes our message up to the grassroots. So he needs facilitation. The party needs facilitation. And also these candidates, because for us, if you noticed, it was all over the news, many parties were asking certain amounts of money for expression of interest, but NUP asked for zero amount of money. We didn't ask for any amount of money.
Poor strategy. It
is not poor strategy. Why are we commercializing politics? Expressing interest in your party, you must not pay.
NRM tells you
they
raised about 9 billion in expression of interest only.
Well, our alternative is
which puts them at a higher level.
We've carried out a fundraiser and we expect to get a lot more money. Our target, yes, is 9 billion. But with the goodwill so far that we have had, on the first day, we were able to collect around 1.8 billion in both cash and pledges, and people are still bringing in more. But as usual, the state is panicking. They're in panic mode. I think there's a I want to believe there's a department that is there to make sure they follow everything that we do, and they find ways of sabotaging whatever progress we try to make. But we're not going to relent. Yes, we are going to go on with the fundraiser. It is going on well. Even today, some people brought in money, and I had Mao bringing in another clause to curtail our fundraiser move that we did, saying that we're not supposed to raise money to a tune not beyond 400 million. But NRM itself has collected money from business people, money that they don't even reveal. They don't even reveal to the public. It's so many. They get on top of getting money from the state coffers because they have access to it.
That's an allegation. We treat it as an allegation because we don't have proof.
We all have eyes and ears, but you know that they have access to even much more. So for us, what we are doing, we are basing on our party membership to make sure that they contribute and support to the cause of making sure we take the message of the protest vote around the country, and we shall win this election.
All right, let's go to Imam. Imam, you've been following this matter closely, but also the political party that you subscribe to. I hope I'm putting you there in your right senses. You might say you are not a member of any political party, but we have known for so long that you do subscribe to the Justice Forum Party. They are members of IPOD, and I saw your Secretary General seated in that meeting that Ms. Amanio alludes to, where President Yoweri Museveni was meeting them. But give us your own view on this issue of political party financing and the ongoing debate?
Thank you very much. I am not one of those cowards who say that I don't support any political party. I am not only supporting, but I found it.
You founded the
Yes.
Justice Forum Party?
Yes.
JEMA.
So it is obvious, and therefore I cannot deny. No. I am very certain I am one of the very 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people
In this country?
who founded Justice Forum. And I'm proud of it, by the way, of being its member. But all that said and done, you know, it is very interesting. There is no way you can do politics without money or wealth of some sort. But the problem is, in this country, we are acting like savages. People who are archaic because of selfishness. And that is where the biggest challenge is. Secondly, I have said before, and I want to reiterate it, that our political leaders largely, they have 3 basic characteristics. Number 1, they lie to the people they want to lead or they lead. Number 2, they cheat the people they lead. Number 3, they fear the people they lead. And because of that, there is a lot of maneuvering. And then, because there's, you know, I have been politically active, but I am not a politician who stands for positions. But I cannot let politics go without...
You are a mover and shaker.
Without putting in my eye and my nose to see what is going on. Because at the end of the day, what they do will affect what I do, even if I remain aloof. Therefore, I would think it would be important for us who may be silent supporters to direct and shape the future of the political trend. And unfortunately, they would be best to do it. Have all resigned, and we have left it to whoever wants. You will hear people who will tell you that ghetto. Others will tell you we are callers, radio callers and whatever. Those people who just call. They call, they only have a minute or 2. Then they will tell you all these categories of people. And, of course, most of them are just fortune hunters. They want to get fortune. I have been going to various media. You may, in some media, as you get out, you will find out people, those who said belong to callers, waiting for the politician for handouts or support, so that when Imam Kaso's whom they don't want is on radio and it happens to be phone-in, he should be grinded or should be abused, or so that he loses strength. The good thing is that I said I went to school. I never went through school. So I have to know how to gauge. Not everybody who responds what I've said that I will respond to him. I will first say, the first criteria is, supposing I am can that person qualify to sit in a class that I teach? If he or she doesn't, then don't expect my answer. Even if he has abused me 100 times, I will just keep quiet. Finally, he or she will give up. The worry, fundraising we are talking about, funds from the state. I think partly it came and as a result of some people who wanted to cover up, because they were using state money alone. Now they wanted everybody to benefit so that they can cover up. That's why even the process of allocating is not good. Because, you see, whether you have 100 members of parliament, I have 2, we are still doing the same thing, and we want to do it nationally. Two, I want to imagine that those people who brought the idea of state funding, we are trying to help us grow our political parties so that they become civil enough during the process of politicking, and we remain with sanity, which is being eroded. I was in some function, somebody said it is an isolated matter. Now it is no longer an isolated matter. Just a minister has been maybe boxed or slapped, a minister in eastern Uganda. The other day, we saw a member of parliament or members of parliament struggling with an aspirant who is a general, a retired one. The other day, a minister went to Busia. In that summer process, somebody died. Okay? You saw, we have seen people attempting to ban. There is a big scuffle in Isingiro. There's a big scuffle in Isingiro. This is no longer an isolated case. And all that is happening when people are still in a house.
Competition.
They are in a house. They are sharing their food on their table in their own house. Father, mother, children, a wife, husband, and children, and their maid.
Part of primaries.
Now they are fighting there. When they get out and they began to compete with the others, what do you anticipate? Recently, no wonder, the Human Rights Commission organized a conference codenamed Early Warnings on what is happening. But it's growing every other day. So the problem, that's where sanity, and initially, political parties funded themselves when they were still civil, when they were still sane. Today, many politicians are no longer civil. They are not sane. They are thinking that getting a position is life and death, even if it means selling what I have. Now, a person who has sold what he has, and he does not win through, what happens? We have also seen people who serve for 5 years in Parliament, and every time we are talking in Parliament, everything is good. The moment they don't go through, they become paupers. What is that? So, that is where the big problem is. Then, the fundraising you're talking about, I know President Museveni is also funded by others. He will tell you, NRM is funded by other people, both internal and external. Okay? People may say, all these, the so-called investors who come from outside, who are getting free land, who have tax holidays, who are operating in swamps. They have structures in swamps. See, all those do fund. And unfortunately, their funding is not declared. We also need sometimes also to interrogate that one. Then, also the public fundraising we are going into, at least I am very sure that I have, since 1996, I have been fundraising or funding my political institution. At an individual level, even yourself, you could have funded somebody standing for politics because he's your friend. He comes to you, you give him money. All that is funding. And unfortunately, that funding is not declared. Today, we are forcing people. Maybe even NUP per se, the process they are doing is good. The exercise could be good. But the first thing is, will all these who came forward to say that, especially those who did not pay, are they going to pay?
Yes, they will pay.
Largely no. She will say, yes, they will pay. Largely no.
They will not fulfill their pledges.
I have participated in fundraising and even spiritual fundraising where people are really
moved by the Spirit.
By the Spirit. Because it is,
they promise air.
I don't say they promise air. They come forward and say, we shall, and they don't. Even when they are in holy places, they will say so, they will not.
Well, some people are saying that NUP has handled it very well because it brought the fundraiser at the time people are looking for the ticket. So, commitment to bring that money.
Those who are put in, and if they don't get the tickets, then you will hear. That's when you will learn that they are not doing it in the good spirit. Too probably, NUP could be smart enough. They could have already got their money, and their money has been termed bad money. Now they want to sanitize it. Also, that our money, we raised it.
We raised it.
We raised it. And there's no way you will challenge them that they do not raise it, because you have seen people giving it out
openly. And
there are people who will give them without being noticed, like they give to everybody. Because I know all businessmen, largely big businessmen, they will fundraise, they will contribute funds to political parties. All of them, by the way. But
not in the proportion. Yeah.
Well, according to
numerical strength,
the expectations of who will win. That is an obvious thing they will give, because they don't know a miracle can come, and you gave Imam Kasozi, you denied Mr. Dr. Jambu, and Jambu goes through, Imam Kasozi fails, and you still want those benefits. You know, my teacher for corruption.
Your teacher?
Yes, who taught me corruption.
Eh?
Yes, the one who taught me corruption. What it means.
Okay.
He started with from what you people call gifts. And here, the example he gave us. You come to Makerere study, you qualify, you go for a graduation ceremony in your village. A person who has been grasping, he struggles to give you his goat or his cock, and you think he has given it free because he has known now you are going to stay in town, and he will send his child, okay, go and stay with Imam Kasozi. If you receive this man's goat, how are you going to do what? To refuse? Do you see that petrol station, the first petrol station to be between buildings? This one, Shell example, in my notes which I wrote in 1983 by Professor Mwine Mshanga, the late Musa Mwine Mshanga. Is that as an example? That's why it was there. The ones you see are also emerging wherever. People come with these masts.
Telephone masts.
Yes, which have a lot of rays that are coming, and they put it in between homesteads.
Yes.
And somebody gets money for you, you get raised, you get sick, you begin to complain that, there's non-communicable diseases are increasing. They're increasing because somebody is endangering you and you fear. Actually, somebody had brought it to put it behind my house. And I said, no. I said, no. This is a residential, whatever. It cannot be here. Then somebody, Imam is fighting development. I said, that is not development. Because I know what they call sustainable development. You are talking about development. I am talking about sustainable development. It must not jeopardize my future. And actually, they took it away. Because I stood up and all the people now backed me. So the unfortunate part, we are in a country where, you see, like now, what the president is doing, probably it is coming down. That's when I will make my comment down there. But what do you know? Let us accept, if we want to fund people, we fund them. And if we are going to receive state funding, even when the laws are there, and the laws are used here selectively, you see, there is a time when the Muslim community in this country was the punching bag. And whenever we talked to them, people said, you are extremists. Then I told them then that, you see, a lion is a lion. It will always eat meat. When the so-called extremists are over, new extremists will be created for them to keep surviving, and it has been done. What NUP is crying, the Muslim community cry.
All right.
And others will cry.
All right. Spectrum Extra on Radio 1 FM 90. Let's go for a break now. When we return, we'll get responses from Dr. Jambo. Michelle is also here, but also Imam, to close up this discussion. I will move on to our next topic, which will be looking at the presidential tours of PDM projects. Is it campaigning or fighting poverty? Stay tuned, Radio 1 FM 90. Keep your comments coming via the WhatsApp line 0703 090 090. Well, thank you so much for staying with us on Spectrum Extra, live on Radio 1 FM 90, reviewing the major events of the week. My guest in studio, Dr. Robert Ojambo, Senior Lecturer and Head of the Department of History, Archaeology and Heritage, Chamboko University. Is also a political analyst. Ms. Sheila Dravile Manio, economist and member of the National Unity Platform Party. Imam Idi Kasozi, lecturer at Islamic University in Uganda, is also a member of the Justice Forum Party. We expect Major Retired Okwiri Bwoni, who is the Director Youth and Institutions and the National Resistance Movement Party, to join this discussion. Back to you, Dr. Ojambo. You've heard from your co-panelists here on the table, their input, their reaction to some of the things that you put aside. But what would be the best way forward now that we have this kind of situation where there seems to be lack of clarity, but also a tug of war? Because we've also seen a letter from the Honorable Norbert Mao actually telling the Electoral Commission, wait, do not release money to political parties. I need to do some consultation. We do not know clearly what kind of consultation is going to take place.
Yeah, it is a catch-22 for other political parties out of government. And since they have said that their objective is to make sure that they dislodge the NRM party, they have to be up to the game. You are not going to expect NRM with its Bush techniques, which they still use up to today, to give you a leeway to dislodge them. So the political parties must come up and they should show that they are up to the task. This is a situation like a snake in the pot, when a snake is in your pot. And I think the listeners out there know pots. I know these days we have moved to fridges and the saucepans and other things. How do you break the pot? Do you wait for the snake maybe to come out on its own? You must get ways of making sure that you conducively make this snake come out of the pot without breaking the pot. And this is the issue I'm trying to explain.
And without also being beaten.
For example, if the political parties want to participate in election, they must look for ways of getting money than waiting for government to give them money. Because the government looks at political parties, I've said this time and again, as criminals, as opponents. They don't look at them as fellow players in the game of the body politic of Uganda. They look at them as criminals, as people who want to remove them from government. As I've always said, the government in Uganda is a buffet, and people are eating. You cannot just go and remove them from their meals and you replace them. They will not allow you. So political parties have to be very innovative, and they need to stop the baby cry and go to the task. They have to have strategists who are planning on how to beat these systems. If it is taking legal action, they should do that. If it is finding alternative means of getting money like they have started, which I have also said may be stopped anytime, they must be prepared for that. So much so that when the ANC, African National Congress, was fighting against apartheid, there is no way the apartheid government would be the one to fund them. But the Mandelas had to look for people. They had to go to Britain through different means, pass via Tanzania, via Egypt, and reach England. And on TV, they would see Mandela in England, and they wonder, he didn't board any plane here. How did he reach there? Until they dislodged the apartheid regime, because it is one of the biggest dictatorship that has ever been in Africa. How did, for instance, the people of Eritrea fight against the Ethiopian oppression? We need people in parties who are thinking seriously, coming up with alternatives, not crying on press conferences. They should be planning. If you know that because the other thing is the government will wait, NOP collects the money, takes it to the headquarters or somewhere, and they come and ransack the headquarters and take away all the money. Or what will they do? So they must plan. If these things do not want baby cries are not going to manage running a state. A state is a complicated thing. It has the monopoly of violence. A state anywhere, be it in Kenya, be it in Ivory Coast, everywhere, even in the United States. The state is a violent apparatus of doing things. And therefore, you have to be aggressive. So, number one, I think political parties need very serious strategists to help them out of this issue. It is not just that I've dreamt or I've done. There must be a strategy. Two, they need a lot of well-wishers. They need to convince the masses. If the masses believe in them, including NRM, because NRM right now is only liked because they control the kitchen. They are the ones serving food. Once they get out of that kitchen, nobody is going to be interested in NRM. So they need friends. And
we have had examples.
Yes.
When UPC was in the kitchen, you know what happened.
Yes, even in Kanu in Kenya.
Everybody was singing Nyamrunga, Nyamrunga.
Yes, even in Kanu in Kenya. Kanu, I used to think that is a cult. People would sing it even in church when I was a young man. So even NRM, once it is out of the kitchen, nobody is going to like it. So they also need to be part of this, and they need to be worried. But the good thing is that most of them, if today they collapse, they will just join the winning team. I've told you these are Melkadi people. Then the other last thing that I want to talk about is we need to study the geopolitics of the world today. Because gone are the days that United States of America is going to give you money when Trump is there. Remember, with the European economic crisis, many of the European countries now don't have money to give out. The Arab countries are also in a very huge crisis right now. So you have to be very innovative. But I heard my sister here saying that to win an election you need money. I believe so, but you need more the people and to convince the people, the rural people.
How do you go to the people if you don't
I am
have
telling
money?
you that
She talked about cars
sometimes
that
it
fuel.
looks like as if it is very difficult, but the people out there are not stupid. You need to speak to them. They are really disgusted with so many things. I don't know a person who has ever had a patient at Mulago with cancer, sleeping in the tent for 3 months. If such a person is approached properly and explained to why he or she was sleeping in that tent, she will understand. But the trouble here, we believe in rally politics, this politics of the rally, whereby people are not spoken to in schools, because, for example, these political parties, do they access young people? And if they access them, what are they telling them? So these are things that will enable them. And also this get quick thing that you want to start today and tomorrow win. You need a long-term strategy where you have to divide it into 3, the long-term, the mid-term, and the immediate. So I think financing will never be a panacea to problems in the political party in Uganda. But I know it is a major thing, it is a major issue. The biggest problem of political parties in Uganda, all of them, including NRM, it is organization. How do they organize? I have heard Mugisha Muntu singing about the organization and the grassroots thing, but I don't see anything. I don't see anything. They don't have branches. Political parties don't have branches. They don't have headquarters. The headquarters is only in town, and they meet there, sing songs of revolutionary songs. Songs are not going to lead them anywhere. They need to move down. Whether they are being clobbered by soldiers, they need to come up with ways of how to beat those soldiers and reach where they want to be.
All right. Let's go to Ms. Amanio. Very quickly, you've heard from Imam. You have also heard from Dr. Ojambo. We are trying to look at the best way forward for political parties. Can NUP adopt some of the things that Dr. Ojambo is actually proposing? You, as somebody who is aspiring for leadership, how do we address this kind of situation? Because we need entities that should function as political parties to be able to move there and solicit for support.
Of course, I want to demystify what he has said. Everything that he has said, I think let me give him information. First of all, the ground is not leveled. So he's saying that he wants us to get to the grassroots, to get to the people, to get to the last people. But there's a lot of stigma there that has been created by the system. First of all, when you're going to the villages, deep in the villages, there are this system, the GISOs, the DISOs, all that system that is there in the grassroots. The moment they see you step foot there, there's a lot of forces that are discouraging or that are stopping us from actually doing the grassroots. But we always find our ways. We're not just crybabies, because he's been saying that political parties are crybabies. We're not crybabies. Actually, NUP we are a force to reckon with. We go and we are aggressive. We are very aggressive, and I think we've got many people complaining about our ability to to really push our way through until we get to So I don't think it has been fair of him to say that. We have really pushed the walls. We've pushed the system, and we've gotten there, even with the state of affairs that has been going on. Two, we've mobilized resources. Like right now, what we've done, just because they have come up and said, no more collecting money, it doesn't mean that we're going to keep our hands closed. No, our brains are working. I told you we are a young party, we are young leaders. Some of the things we don't have to come and say them out here, but the more they curtail us, the more we also try and get more ways to make sure we keep running. That's why we are still here and they are still fighting. We are keeping them on their toes. And maybe another thing is the bad laws. We need to fight the bad laws. Why is it that they're always finding, and they always pass those laws very fast, Anything that gets into their way, they make sure they go get a private member's bill, pass it, beyond record time, and, just because they want to stop us from getting to the people. So we're fighting bad laws. That's why NUP is vocal about bad leadership, bad governance, anything that is not for the people. We are always out there to sensitize the people. We're demanding the Electoral Commission to allow us give people civic education. He was saying, why don't we go into schools? Which school is going to allow you to go and start talking to people, especially when they identify you as NUP? The GISOs will come and round you off. You, the headmistress, they'll actually go and arrest you. So we cannot have access to certain places. Like even churches these days have stopped us from talking, from giving, from addressing people. Some churches don't allow us to do that.
I've even seen at funerals where they are saying
even at
politicians should not speak here.
All those are ways of stopping us, but still you will always see, either we shall wear our uniforms, we shall wear our branded materials. Even those, they've attacked us by coming up with a new UPDF amendment act where they don't allow us to wear berets, they don't allow us to wear certain kind of shoes. I saw in some pictures where they listed some of the items which we're not supposed to wear, but we are still not going to give up on popularizing our need to change government, because our mission is we're fighting the state. We're fighting the state. That is what we want to do away with. Then the other issue, you mentioned something to do with grassroots mobilization. We have structures. Right now, the whole country has structures of NUP, of National Unity Platform. Right from the top, every region has a leader, a deputy president, and from the deputy president, there's so many structures down there. So we're getting to the last person, and we're beating the system even when they don't know. That is why they're doing so many things to make sure that even with the vocal people, they trail us, they ambush us, they abduct us, they abduct the people who are really doing the work, those that they know. So it's a fight, it's a struggle that we are still continuing to pursue until we get to completion. I think we are going to succeed.
All right. Imam, let's wind up the discussion now on this particular topic, and you'll have the final say before we actually move on to our next topic. What do you think would be the best way forward to address this issue?
Number one, I should encourage all political party supporters, sympathizers, and members. Every party has three categories of people: those who support, those who are members, and those who are just sympathizers. A sympathizer will decide to give you a vote or no. A supporter will give you, but he may not give you any money. A member should give money to support the activities you want to do. Two, while it is good to be vigilant, you also need to be tactical, because they may trap you to be vigilant, and then they cramp you. You see, and we have seen this. I know the Muslim youth was a very strong thing here, the one you call Tabligh, but somehow they were trapped. Those who fell prey, it has cost us a lot as a community. So my brothers and friends in the National Unity Platform, because I know many people there at a personal level, my former students, my neighbors, my own people.
Members of your congregation.
Yes, I know they are there. We must not just expose ourselves for the sake of showing that we are present. We are dealing with an animal that is very strange. It is very, very strange. And therefore you must also be strange to it. A lot of camouflage, a lot of tricks are being done. They will bring somebody and say he has crossed, even when he has not crossed. Okay? They will bring somebody who are accused of many things when they are not there. So the best way of dealing with such scenarios is also to be tactical. And what he's talking about, many of our political groups, they do not have a unique body of what we call think tanks. For example, recently in Jema there are some issues, and people are saying, there is a group that is the one seems to do what, because they don't want that. For them, they think head on. No, there must be some people who must help us to analyze scenarios, create scenarios, even have engagements. You see, you don't need to make a parade. You cannot. A parade, you cannot. They can use that one to destroy you. Two, even in that parade, they could have agents when you don't know.
All right.
Just 2 days ago, in Iran, they arrested some Jew who has been there for the last 15 years. Non-Muslim, but he was a cleric. Right. So people, if you're exposed to that information, you need to be very critical. Two, NUP, JEM, or any other political group, you must also create your own intelligence. You see, when we talk about intelligence, people only think of ISO, whatever, this is the ISO, ESO, and military intelligence. No. People to gather because what is intelligence? It's the gathering of information and you analyze it for your purpose. Me, I am a pineapple farmer. I gather information about pineapples everywhere and know when will the market be good so that I maximize my results. Okay? Otherwise, if you do not do that one, you are in trouble. And that is like, for example, when she said that, some of the members who want to stand are not able to pay nomination fees. if you are in my party and I have control, and you want nomination fees to be paid for you, I cannot support you, because I know, supposing I give you 100,000 and somebody gives you 300,000, where would you pay allegiance? And that's what I think Party and NUPA has also suffered that in Parliament. And not only in Parliament, even in local councils. You know, there is one of these divisions of Kampala. They had the majority, but they failed to win a speaker.
That was in Lubaga.
You see, what does that one tell you? So, critical thinking is important.
Right, Spectrum Xtra on Radio 1 FM 90. So now let's shift our gears. We're going to shift now and move to our next topic of discussion, and it's going to be the presidential tour on parish development model. And I want to begin with you, Dr. Ujambo. You've followed President Yoweri Museveni as he moved across Wakiso. You saw him in other districts. What do you make of this effort? Is it a genuine cause to deal with the poverty, or is an election activity like some people have claimed?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Before I jump on that question, I just need to give you a background. I've been following Yoweri Museveni for the last 30 years that he has been a president. He came when I was a young man, and he first ruled by decree for some time. Then later there was NRC and Waterview until 1996. That's when we started the constitutional engagement, where now there were elections. And in every election, if you have been very, very observant, there is any economic activity that is pursuing. And he has stated that majority of our people are poor, and not only poor. You know, you can be poor, but with the hope that very soon you will get out of that poverty. Maybe because you are pursuing something, but majority of our people in rural areas are poor and hopeless. So they are just waiting for something that can come to their hands, and they eat it. And the president has studied that very, very carefully, and he has said it himself, that the problem with the Ugandans, just give them money, they will run mad. So there have been a lot of programs. After, when they were planning for the manifesto that he brought in this government, the president came up with a number of things, and the money was allocated to those things. They came up with the Myoga program, where they allocated 390 billion. There was a youth livelihood program, where they allocated 22.8 billion. Then there was women enterprise, where they allocated 25 billion. There was microfinance support center. They said they need a microfinance. They allocated 35.7 billion. Then there was presidential initiative on skilling boys, girl, child, and it was in all these ghettos. They allocated 1.9 billion on it. Now, that went on for about 1 year. He discovered that was not doing what he wanted. He came up with now a parish development model. And this parish development model was a multi-sectoral approach with the 7 pillars. We had the pillar of production, storage, processing, and marketing as one pillar. Then there was infrastructure and economic services. There was financial inclusion. There was social services and mind change. There was parish-based management, information system, and governance administration. But all those, he picked one. Just like the if you remember NADS. NADS was just an item of another program, Plan for Modernization of Agriculture. And he picked, a friend of mine normally tells me, if you have ever seen a centipede, this with so many legs, and you only pick one and remove it from the centipede, will it stop moving? It has a lot of them. So he picks the easy one. And the easy one is to give people money. And therefore, 3 years ago, they come up with a plan of 1 trillion per year. The whole project is 3 trillion, if you check the current budget. Because these Myoga, what have you, have never stopped. They are still releasing money for them. Microfinance Center and what have you, they are releasing money for them. So the total is 3 billion. Now, what is the president doing?
3
trillion. 3 trillion, I beg your pardon. Now, what is the president doing? He's now saying he's monitoring parish development model. He's no longer speaking about Myoga. He's no longer speaking about prosperity for all and those other things. These others, he speaks about them in passing. And is now monitoring the money that was given to different parishes to look after. But now, the president is a very unique human being. He's a very unique human being, and that's why I'm telling these political parties that they need to sit down and study what type of person and government that they are struggling with. So, for that matter, the president uses this prosperity, I call them prosperity projects, because that's what he says. He wants people to prosper, as a way of moving around the country campaigning. If you have been listening to him, every time he's concluding this, he says the biggest problem you people, especially in Uganda here, he says the biggest problem with you people, you have been voting me bad people. And on those rallies, there is nobody to ask him, how is the voting related to the programs which have already been put in the budget, where we have Minister of Agriculture, we have Minister of Finance, we have so many people. How come they are not delivering these processes? Because we need, farmers need to produce. When they produce, they need to store. When they store, they need to process and market. When they do that, they need the infrastructure to move their things. They need finances to improve their things. So how has this opposition stopped Minister of Finance and the government infrastructure to implement this whole thing? So the president has discovered that most of our people are hand to mouth. What they get, they eat it. And I'm telling you, majority of the people who have gotten this parish development model money have eaten it. What they are showing us on TV, sometimes it beats anybody's understanding. That somebody got money last July and he established a farm, and already cows have produced, and the cows, you know, the gestation period of a cow is the same as a human being. It's 9 months to produce a calf. So you cannot get money in January of 2025 and you have established a farm, it has produced cows, and you have started selling calves and piglets and what have you. So for me, I think we need to call government to order. That government, please come back to order. Run the budget through the Minister of Finance via the different sectors. This thing affects the Minister of Finance, it affects the Minister of Works for infrastructure, it affects the Minister of Agriculture, and many of those ministries. On those rallies, do you see these ministries engaged and represented? Do you see the local people who are supposed? The president cannot be an extension worker. He cannot be the promoter. He cannot be the Muluka chief, the parish chief. The president is the fountain of honor who disburses this money and then monitors the money through the systems of the state. So for me, I think that it's a good thing. It has helped my Ugandans to get some money and put it in the pocket, but it cannot lead us where we are going. And the president has finished his first round of campaign. So in 2026, we'll just be making second round when these colleagues will be struggling with no round.
All right, Spectrum Extra Radio 1 FM 90. Let's go for a break now. When we return, we'll hear from Imam Idkasozi and Ms. Amanio on this issue of the presidential PDM tours.
Very well.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us on Spectrum Extra, reviewing the major events of the week. We've been looking at the debate over political party financing. We dealt with that in our first segment, but right now we are looking at the presidential PDM tours, and we are asking a question: are they campaigns or they are genuine efforts to fight poverty in our country? Imam Id Kasozi, lecturer at Islamic University in Uganda, member of the Justice Forum Party. Ms. Sheila Dravile Amanyo, economist and member of the National Unity Platform Party. Dr. Robert Ojambo, senior lecturer and head of the Department of History, Archaeology and Heritage, Chambogo University. He's also a political analyst. We expected Major Retired Okwira Boni, Director Youth and Institutions from the National Resistance Movement Party, to join us, but it seems he has not been able to make it. Now, let me come to you, Sheila, on this particular issue of the presidential PDM tours. In your opinion, what could be going on?
Of course, like Doctor has said, it's a purely campaigning tactic that the president is doing. You know, he is campaigning but disguising as if he's actually supervising the PDM projects. You know, I don't know why we have been fooled for so long, but like the Imam has said, he envies the ignorant. He envies the ignorant. It's written on the white walls that the president is campaigning. Everywhere he goes, he actually campaigns for even the candidates who are in that area, especially in Uganda. It has happened in Mukono when he came to Greater Mukono. He instead started campaigning for candidates in that area. And there was no sign to show, there was no success story to actually show the progress of the people who have benefited from the 1 million. You know, these have been stage managed. They come and officials come and just put up something, and they're very smart at doing these things. You know, they come and tell you, no, you come and wear yellow T-shirts, present yourself, tell the president you had is it one? I was going to use a wrong example because for the interest of my brothers here. I had one goat, now I've had many goats. In what period? If you trace back, if the locals trace back to this person who has given a testimony of this of the success story of the PDM, you'll find that it's not true. If you go back after the president has left, you'll find that that person is very poor. Actually, she's just rich, he or she is just rich because of the envelope the president has given them. So it's a campaign strategy. It's just a sham that our president has been reduced. The president has been reduced to doing that monitoring and evaluation that the MPs could have done, that the district officials could have done, that line ministers, like Doctor has said. So it goes without saying that it is a campaign. He is campaigning, and there's no sign. There's been no impact of PDM. I think we are wasting money in this project.
Are you sure?
Yes, we are wasting time in this project. Who has become rich from PDM, from that 1 million? First of all, the money delays to come. The releases never come, because they say the releases are supposed to be they're supposed to come out every year?
The money is
the 100 million for a whole year.
There is a quarterly release.
The releases, you'll find that those quarterly releases will get into the releases of the next financial year. So they're not timely. There's no direct impact. It has not helped anybody. I have not seen anybody who has, because 100 million is a lot to change a parish. It's a lot. But who has come out of poverty because of that project? People are actually getting worse. People are very poor. Everyone is crying of poverty. Everybody is crying of poverty. This project has not helped Ugandans, and it's just a waste of taxpayers' money. On top of him using, I don't know, over 2 billion in doing this supervision, really, is it worth it to go and visit one priest who has a farm that has been staged? 2 billion, why don't you just inject that money back into the parishes that you're talking about, and you give timely financing to this project? So for me, the issues I've had, especially in my district, there's no timely release of this money, and the people who are getting it, they actually get less money. It's not 1 million. You find that they will get 500,000. They will even the selective allocation of that money. They give it to probably the NRM families, the diehards. So those in opposition don't get anything. People have lost interest. The bureaucracies of even getting this funding, it is hectic. I look at them and even I sympathize with them. The officials who collect data, sometimes they even ask you, Honorable, please buy us some data. We cannot continue entering just the data process. They are still struggling with it. Meaning that the whole bureaucracy, by the time that person gets the 1 million, surely they will even use that. They divert that money from the economic activity they're supposed to do and start paying school fees, debts, and I don't know what else, and all other things that they want to pay for. So for me, even National Unity Platform as the party, we don't believe in this government program. There's much better things that we can do.
What would be alternative to deal with poverty in National Unity Platform?
I think we should focus more on institutions. If we inject more money in the education sector, that is going to train these people, or the population, the children, into people who are going to create their own jobs. This will trickle down. The trickle-down effect will be felt, as opposed to giving handouts. I think the handout system has not worked. They've tried it in Operation Wealth Creation. They've tried it in poverty alleviation programs. They've tried it in which other programs? There are so many programs that the president has come up with. But also, it should be noted that every campaign period, there's something new that he always comes up with. So, right now he's riding on the PDM, and I think he's promising to revamp it, refinance it, and so for me, we really don't agree with it, and it is okay. We see through him, we see through his actions, and we know that he's campaigning. We know that the president is campaigning.
All right. Let's go to Honorable, to Imam Id Kasozi. Imam Id Kasozi, very quickly. Imam Id Kasozi is a honorable man. Being honorable should not be limited to only members of parliament, Imam. Not so. Yeah. Imam, your quick thoughts on the presidential tours.
In Uganda, it is limited to them. Yes. This, of course, the purpose they put. If he was touring the country, I would not have any problem because he's the president. But the purpose defeats my understanding. And
you want to see how
the demonstration,
the population is applying the.
No, we have a hierarchy of a system that operates. You see, because if the president won't supervise the work in a parish, and not just a pirate parish, but the whole country, it defeats my understanding. That's why when you critically see what is going on, he was in Wakiso yesterday. I have two scenarios, very interesting, about three. One was in Kira, where a lady, we are in PDM. The lady said, I want to see the president. I have been trying to see you for I have your akama. I have a separate for you. A lady. Then this lady says, President, she kneels down. Siganagama, that she has not gone for Hajj. Hajj is not compulsory for the poor. It is only for those who have. Now, how does PDM relate to going for Hajj? Hajj this year was 20 million minimum. A parish is given 100 million. Now that means 20% if it is the system. Secondly, the president would have been easy to say, no, I have a system of helping those who go for Hajj, because he has. It has issues, but he has.
And I think that's what he's going to do.
That is one side.
He asks for her contact.
He crosses, he reaches this side of Wakiso. Because this one was this side, this was side of Wakiso.
He was in Kasokoso, then he went to the other side.
Now he finds somebody who is really working, who needs PDM. A man with a very big tunnel of
a bricklayer.
A bricklayer. He got out of the vehicle, he walked to the man, he asks him questions. That's what the message I am saying. Gwani, Wavawa, Okolachi, because he's seeing what he's doing. Then the man says, how much do you earn? The man says, my boss pays us 20,000.
Per day.
Mwezi, per day, unaku. Oh, no, Richo, enaku kumi mitwala biti. 200,000 for 10 days. It's 30 days, 600,000. Oh, that's okay. And the president walks away.
Yeah, because that man is earning.
That was the right man to give money.
No, but he's earning.
Let me tell you, if you want to transform society, you go for those who are already in operation. The reason why Frisian cows succeeded in this country, when they were brought in here, they were given to cattle keepers who were already in the system, and they taught them how to manage them. That's how they ended up multiplying. These days, actually, even if you go to the Ankole region, you will see most of them are Maleto, these hybrids, which have, but it started with a few individuals who manage them well. Like, for example, I know this man called Chibwete, you see here, he had a very big farm of those animals. And it is on his farm for him that I did my field work for HSC geography, practical work. You see, so even when all of these things happened, I wondered, because the Chibwete I knew was quite different from the Chibwete who said he was assumed to have burnt people. I had an uncle of mine, the late Johnny Shekhar. He was a friend to my father. That's how he becomes my uncle. He succeeded because of those animals. Okay, but now, if you came to my village where I work from, and you give those neighbors of mine that money, and then you go, you leave me who has a real demonstration where I could even train them to work. There's a problem. That's why this man, as he has pointed all of this, they have not created any real impact. I operate in about 60 districts of this country in agriculture. You see? But I have not seen any one simple unit that has been transformed. People are saying, by the way, PDM money is not a lot of money. I'm not decampaigning it, but it is not a lot. 100 million. If you have a parish that has 10,000 people, each person is destined for 10,000. Each person is destined for 10,000. Can 10,000 make any impact? You are going to say it's not given to everybody. See, that's why, for example, when I see him, I saw them in Xtra, where he was. Xtra has about 130 homesteads, families. Xtra municipality has 130 with a population of 450,000 people. Now you give them 100 million. It doesn't make any sense.
All right.
Those people want to transform country before. What did the government do then? In the cattle keeping areas, they put valley dams. They put these dams for washing the animals. And deep tanks. And they were free. And every area knew that for us we are Monday, for us we are Tuesday, everybody goes, his cows walk through. And it improved the number of herds around. Those for agriculture, they are what we call extension workers, to come and demonstrate to people what to do. Nothing. So we are wasting money thinking that we are investing. We need to go back. So that's why, to me, the visit for the president is not supervising or improvement of what is being done. It is just to reach out to the people so that they see him, and to reduce the tension of the campaigning time. Because the campaigning time, campaigns are only for 2 months. You have 100 and so many districts. So you need to traverse about 5 districts a day and he no longer has that energy. So now, let me do my campaign. When the other time comes, I'll be just passing by, waving, and then some people with bags of money will also be following, and probably there we shall make an impact. So, if you compare the woman in Kira asked for Hajj. The man who needed the money for real transformation, to train others, even those that have probably benefited from the skilling he was talking about, he was just saying, oh, 600,000 is okay.
Very good.
You see, if that man has a child in a secondary school, where he hopes or he wants his child to pass, the tuition, the minimum tuition, is about 1.5.
All right. We need to get feedback from the listeners. I actually watched videos on social media of that man who was, standing near that huge, what they call in Uganda, tanuru, heap of, and people were saying, this man lost an opportunity. He just didn't know that an opportunity had knocked around his corner. He should have told the president that their boss was actually not paying them, so that the president would hand over an envelope to him. There was a discussion going on social media about that particular video. But let's hear the listeners. And I want to begin with Mawa Amaza Moyo, who writes in and says, NRM is not ready and will never be ready for free and fair competition, so the opposition are just struggling for power. Let them address the current issues affecting the citizens and inform the citizens how they will handle corruption, failed institutions, separation of power, including reducing the powers of the president and appointing some civil servants, e.g. chairman of EC, judiciary, etc. Okelo Patrick Bonyo, listening in from Busega. Doctor has said clearly we are not yet ready to operate political parties in Uganda. I think we hurried to go democratic process, yet our society is still far to understand. And what does the political parties do? How does it operate? How do you become a member of a political party? How to fund its activities? In my opinion, we should suspend the democracy process in Uganda until when our society understand what democracy is and its implications. Currently, those in power will feel threatened by democracy, especially when it's not favoring them. Let's abolish the election for some years, because with this kind of behavior, we are not heading anywhere. China, without this kind of pseudo-democracy, has moved far. Therefore, development at the infantry level doesn't need democracy. Kauma Digo, listening in from Mitiana, writes and said, Kenneth, after all being said, Ugandans should have to dialogue. There is no shortcut. Therefore, I call upon the two most strong parties in the country to adjust their positions on dialogue. It is high time they think about dialogue, and is the only way forward. Another comment from Medad. He says, hello, Kenneth. My simple word is, whereas the government is trying to bring up all those frustrations to political parties like NUP, it should not have been Chairman Mao being used to do all this. Mao, you have earned a living, but have betrayed Ugandans. Another comment, very disappointed by Dr. Jambo. He's talking as if he's not in Uganda. He wants to say that he does not see the security beating these people who go to speak to masses. Another comment, NOP is for the young, just inquisitive. Where is I think he's asking, where is Honorable Nambeshe? That's David listening in Mbale. Good evening, Anderson. Joseph Mwonge here. Greetings to Dr. Jambo. You are all in primary school. He says, until the masses become disillusioned with the idea of compromise with the bourgeois, the revolution will go hurtingly and limpingly. Relates to the current political situation in our country. Well, those are some of the comments that are coming in from the listeners. Well, would you like to respond, Dr. Jambo, because I can see we are also running out of time.
Yeah, Kenneth, thank you so much, and I thank the listeners for the feedback. I can see a lot of them are disillusioned with democracy. Unfortunately, there is no alternative. At least we have not seen the best alternative for democracy is democracy. So I think we just need to continue fighting and struggling, because the other methods are not good enough. You are talking about China, but China is a different environment and Uganda is different, so we cannot use the Chinese means in Uganda. because China, unlike Uganda, has gone through a number of transformations to reach where it is and it can afford to do anything. Then the members who are really disappointed by what I was saying is that we are going to continue getting disappointed, unfortunately, because we need to get working. We are not going to just wish everything to change without struggling. And finally, I want to encourage all Ugandans not to lose hope, but keep struggling wherever you are. If you are NRM, just make sure that you do a good thing. If you are NOP, just make sure that you do a good thing for this country. And if you are a non-partisan person, also be in your lane, doing a good thing for this country, and keep hope alive.
All right, let's hear from you, the closing remarks, as we come to the end of the show. Ms. Amanu.
Oh, thank you very much, fellow panelists and the listeners. Thank you for the comments that you've brought in. I heard someone say we should give alternatives to corruption and everything. I think my party has zero tolerance to corruption, and I think we've exhibited it within our party, how we manage people who are corrupt or those who engage into corrupt activity and corrupt ventures. Yes. The issue of dialogue, a good friend of mine told me one time that if you don't want Museveni, you don't meet him. He's manipulative, and his character and his behavior, you will not get what you want. He will manipulate you, and he will, just like he did for Mao. He will win you over. He will win you over, just like he did for Mao. So honestly, negotiation or dialogue for us is no option.
He wins the winnable.
Yes. And then maybe to say that NUP is the alternative. Everyone is saying that there's no alternative party that they are seeing, but NUP is the best alternative. Right. We are people-centered leadership, and we look forward to doing economic transformation for this country in more tangible ways than these other dramatic ways. Good governance, accountability, create some employment and all other opportunities. There's so much that we have in store for you as National Unity Platform. And not forgetting to talk about the protest vote. People don't understand it, but we can protest the current regime by going to vote overwhelmingly, and that is how we hope to take off the dictator without using the other means.
All right. Imam, very quickly in a few seconds, your closing remarks.
First of all, I would like to thank the panelists for this evening, and thank Radio 1 for always keeping people alive, and we thank those who are following. My closing remark has always been, because when we are survivors, we shall meet all those challenges. Let us also restrict or refrain ourselves from being used just to do a demonstration which is not real. Right. And the bad thing, sometimes they use very big people, and therefore the ordinary man is dissuaded to think that probably it is real.
All right, with that we come to the end of Spectrum Extra. Thank you so much for tuning in and contributing to this discussion. Thank you very much, dear panelists, for making time to be on this show. For me and the team here in studio, we wish you a fabulous